How did a VA employee spearhead a scheme to get VA disability benefits awarded for false medical conditions? And what does this mean for all veterans?
Well, one of Haines City's top cops is in hot water. Captain Gabriel Garcia, the department's second in command, is accused of being involved in a scheme to fraudulently obtain veterans' disability benefits. And tonight, he's among 10 people facing federal charges. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is live in our newsroom tonight with more on this. Aaron, tell us more about these charges.
Allie, the federal government is accusing this officer, who is also a veteran, of essentially stealing disability benefits. 8 others, including some of the officer's family members, are facing similar charges. Investigators say all but one spent time in the military, and it's incredibly upsetting to a veteran who we spoke with who truly needs this type of assistance.
I'm Dr. Sharma, physician, board-certified psychiatrist, and Air Force veteran. It's a sad day, of course, because today we're talking about fraud in the VA disability system. Full credit to the CivDiv for bringing this story to light. If you're watching this, you're probably subscribed to him, but if you're not, you need to go and subscribe to his channel immediately. I'll drop a link below. First, let's get into the facts of the case, and quick disclaimer, this is what the government is bringing forward for the case. As always, remember, those charged are innocent until proven guilty. But, according to court documents, an employee of the VA used his access from 2020 to 2025 to assign particular veterans' cases to VA employees that he directly supervised. At the same time, he would communicate with a go-between or a facilitator about which false medical condition should be claimed by which veteran in order to get their applications approved. There were 10 people involved in this, and one of them a VA employee, and 9 others, most of whom are veterans. One of them actually being a sitting police captain, which is pretty shocking. They were charged with approximately 1,300 counts of conspiracy, mail fraud, and wire fraud. Again, the charge is, of course, that this resulted in the approval of fraudulent claims and false medical conditions. It looks like the investigation was done by the VA OIG, U.S. Attorney's Office for Puerto Rico, where this happened, and the FBI. Along with the police captain, there are others, some of whom are actually related to each other. There's a flight attendant, commercial airline pilot, and a Homeland Security officer. So this is pretty significant for multiple reasons. Now to the second question I posed in the beginning. What does this mean for all veterans? The fact of the matter is fraudulent claims really erode confidence in the VA disability benefit system. And look, don't get me wrong, most, if not all, systems have some degree of fraud in them, just like the SSDI system in individual states has fraud, workers' comp, any public benefit system out there has some degree of fraud. And fraud does happen in the VA benefit system. But when a high-profile case like this comes to light, especially with a VBA employee, other prominent people in the community as well, it really leads to skepticism about the legitimacy of all claims. And this makes it challenging for deserving veterans who are just trying to get the support that they need and deserve. As an example, I worked with a veteran recently, and I'm de-identifying some of the details for privacy, but he deployed to Vietnam. He's been asking for help from the VA system for a mental health condition since the early 2000s, so nearly 25 years. He has plenty of medical records and evidence, but he's been denied benefits repeatedly for the past 2 decades. It makes it harder for people like him and others to get the benefits they rightfully deserve. It also stigmatizes these veterans who are genuinely seeking assistance, and this can manifest in different ways. It can be in the form of doubt from the public, others not believing these veterans, even people within the veteran community doubting each other, which has happened plenty. In another video a while back, I talked about myths in this area, how even veterans were saying that 50% of veterans are committing fraud, which obviously there is no evidence for. Others saying that there are people joining the military purely to get VA disability benefits, also not true, no evidence for it. And like one of the commenters from that older video said, if people are joining the military to get benefits, why aren't the recruiting offices bursting at the seams with recruits? Why are they still struggling to meet their quotas? Brilliant point, and one I hadn't thought about before. It's like another veteran I worked with said that he joined the military to serve his country challenge himself, grow, travel, and get an education, but instead he got PTSD from war and cancer from toxic exposures. At the end of the day, every veteran will tell you that they would rather be healthy and not receive VA disability benefits than be the way that they are right now. And that is the reality. This type of fraud also discourages people from applying for benefits. Remember, a lot of veterans are already fearful of the VA system. That's the VBA and even the VHA. They're fearful that they won't be believed, that they won't be able to get the support that they need, that they might be scrutinized excessively because of this fraud, even though everything they're submitting is legitimate. Another impact is that it's a drain on the resources of a system that is already struggling. When fraudulent claims like these get into the system, they lead to longer processing times, delays for the people waiting for legitimate claims. Also, investigating and addressing fraudulent claims takes up a lot of time and funds. These same funds that could instead be allocated to veterans. It's like the resources are actively being rerouted. Yet another impact is that high-profile fraud cases lead to stricter processes, which of course is necessary, right? Because you want to prevent fraud. And that is the aim. But this takes time, so it again slows down a system where you might already be waiting 4 to 6 months for an initial claim or longer for an appeal. It bogs the system down. This type of high-profile fraud is also demoralizing. When veterans hear about this, it brings them down. It brought me down as a veteran as well. We hate hearing about this. It's a betrayal of the system. It's frustrating. It's tough to know that there are people potentially exploiting a system designed to support people who sacrifice for their countries and have legitimate issues. And look, I've said this before. The military and the veteran community is essentially a microcosm of society at large. There will always be a certain percentage of people who commit fraud in these communities, just like there's a certain percentage of people in the population at large who do these kinds of activities, people who have these types of criminal tendencies. But when we see this type of scheme involving a double-digit number of team members, people in high-profile positions, it's not good for the community as a whole. Let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments. As always, I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of this case? Do you think it's true? Did the news make you think of claims in general? Are you worried about your own case? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, you might like the episode I did about the claim that 50% of veterans are committing fraud. Click over here to check it out. Also, click over here to subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thanks for watching. Dr. Sharma signing off. See you next time.